Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning. It is, as you can see, very dark and early behind me. Just getting going on my coffee, but I thought I would bring you along with me as I put on my makeup this morning. And I have some new things from Beautylish. I tried some stuff, I guess a brand that's totally new to me called The Ordinary. I'm sure you've heard of it. They do really inexpensive stuff. Like we're talking $6, $7 for the foundations and primer that I got. So I've been playing with those. Also, I've got some new things from Viseart, Charlotte Tilbury. I'll fill in the blanks with other things, but I thought, you know, we could just do a little get ready with me and hang out. So I've already got my moisturizing serum on, my Rodan & Fields Active Hydration Concentrate, is that what it's called? I got that on and my eye cream, and so I'm ready for some primer. And this is one of the things that I have from The Ordinary. It's called High Spreadability Fluid Primer, and I thought that that meant that this was just really easy to spread, but it actually I think means that it makes your foundation easy to spread out on top. It says Spreadability Enhancing Lightweight Surface Smoother and Primer. So yeah, The Ordinary. I've been asked for a long time to try this stuff out, and I'm finally getting around to it. Actually, there had been several times where I tried to buy from this line, but the foundation especially was always sold out. So anyway, I'm gonna take some of this primer, and it is super duper runny. Like, you gotta find that perfect golden moment where it's just dripped so you can get it onto your skin here without dripping it all over yourself, which I have done a time or two. But it does like spread across the skin so smoothly. And I have had really good staying power actually whenever I have had this on underneath. Like yesterday, okay, that brings me into my next thing on foundations. I got two kinds. I got the coverage foundation and the serum foundation. I have been impressed really with the look on my skin of both of these. The staying power has been good too, and like yesterday I was wearing the serum foundation and I put it through my whole day and I thought, okay, you know, maybe I didn't do anything like super strenuous today other than kid care, which yeah, that is strenuous, but like I got to the end of my day and I thought, okay, it's looking fine. And then we went to the SIU game and it was raining outside, so we were walking mainly back from the game in the rain, and I remembered thinking to myself, I'm gonna be really surprised if that stuff still looks good now, because it's not a real heavy foundation to begin with, but it did look really good on my skin, and then even through that it wore so well. So props to the serum foundation. It's definitely proven itself to me, and I wear that in 1.2N light. But today I'm going to do the coverage foundation. This says high coverage foundation formula. I wouldn't call this stuff full coverage. I just don't feel like it quite goes there, but it's good coverage, you know, and all this stuff is kind of thin, like very liquidy, so you want to shake it up, I guess. Whenever something's thin, I feel like I really need to shake it, just in case, you know, the thinness is caused by something separating. But did I say what I am in this? 2.0N light neutral, and it does say shake before use. Thank you very much. I've also wet my NYX Beauty Blender, which, just to address a quick question on this, NYX has a couple of different black beauty blenders on the Ulta website, but the one that I love is called the Flawless Finish Sponge, and I always link to everything below, so if you're ever confused, like what was that specific thing she said, blah blah, like this is the one that I like. I'm not saying the other one's bad, but I haven't tried it, and it's a little different shape and cut, so the Flawless Finish is the one I like. But we're gonna take some of this foundation. I'm gonna do like a full pump that this thing dispenses. I'm going to just kind of patch this on like I normally would. Looking a little yellow, but again, everything pulls a little yellow on this camera, I feel like, to begin with. But this does seem to blend in nicely with my skin. And maybe you can see what I mean here about it being, yeah, definitely fuller coverage than the last one, like relatively speaking, or than the serum one. It covers more than that. It has a little bit more of a matte appearance, although it still looks pretty natural on the skin. But I feel like it's medium coverage overall, because just like I have a little zit, for example, cropping up there, this doesn't totally cancel out the redness that's coming from that. I can still see freckles. I can still see any areas where I tend to be, maybe have a little darkness, dark spot. So I'm not getting on the foundation over that. I still think it's quite good coverage for as natural as it kind of looks when you get it all blended out. I think the coverage is really nice. But I'm just trying to be as descriptive as I can for you. And I would say I've gotten a little bit better coverage when I've used like my Real Techniques Expert face brush to blend it out on my skin, but I'm so just really getting back into blender sponges these days. You like how when I'm talking I just, you know, go right over the lips. This early in the morning, the coffee hasn't really reached my hand, so it's just doing its own thing. But anyway, the things that I've tried from The Ordinary I think have been pretty freaking awesome. Then a concealer that I've never tried before. I don't think it's especially new. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it is new, I'm not sure. It's from Inglot and it's the cream concealer, and I have this in the shade 21. And this is just a little squeezy tube, a very classic type concealer. I'm using maybe half of a pearl-sized amount here. And it's not quite as potent as I was expecting. I don't know what I was really like expecting this would do for me. Oops, I got an eyelash in there. Like, I don't know, you'll see. I'm gonna blend over it here. It adds some brightness. It's just a touch up from my skin tone, so it does, you know, kind of give me a little life there, a little brightening. I don't know, maybe this is doing a little better than I first thought, because if any day I'm gonna have a dark circle, it would be today. I was up at 3 in the morning with a teething baby. Didn't get to bed especially early, but I just think that's a really good tone, and I can still see just the faintest maybe hint of a little darkness there, but I mean, come on. Just as far as a general concealer goes, like, that's good enough for me. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more of this, and I'm gonna dab it kind of around my nose. Just hit a little redness there, and this wore very nicely for me too yesterday. And I've been wearing this, I guess, for about a week now, so I don't have too many complaints. There have been a couple times when I've paired it with a peachy corrector and I liked it, my results even better, but I just wanted to show you how it goes as is. The game last night, I was posting some stuff on Snapchat. SIU lost to Loyola. They're so good, and I just don't think SIU really had their best game, and they had to perform at their best. The teams are ranked number 1 and 2. So SIU's number 2, they had to have like their best game ever probably to beat these guys, so. But I went with Tyler and my dad. We had fantastic seats. It was still a blast. You know, like when you're in the game day atmosphere, and you got this packed arena and everybody's feeling it and having a good time. Win or lose, it's gonna be a good time. I've always thought that, like being in Busch Stadium, for example, the atmosphere, it's so fun. But there you go, guys, concealer on. I feel like the coverage is pretty nice. It looks natural, like to touch it now that it's been blended in. I can tell there's some moisture there. It doesn't feel like super tacky. I don't feel like I'm lifting product off of the skin as I touch it. I think you could opt to set it or not set it, depending on your preference. But there's a nice like little bit of richness to this that I think a lot of wand applicator concealers don't have. And so it has been looking pretty fresh as it's worn through the day. Now here is another exciting thing that I got. Viseart has come out with a loose setting powder. So it's got the little Viseart logo there, little director's chair on it. And then this is what the inside looks like. You know how some products are putting in that little like mesh barrier right here. So if you wanted to tap some out and really deposit a lot of product into a cap, you might not use this cap, you might use something else. But the way this is created, and then you got the little mesh there, it sort of keeps too much product from coming out. And here's how I've used this. I've just dabbed my brush in. I haven't really baked with this. It's like a super fine, just, I don't know, setting powder. And I've set the under eye with it. And I've also used this around my T-zone, and I think this does wonderful stuff for pores. As in, makes me look like I don't have them right there around the nose. So I'm kind of just hitting the T-zone and the under eye area with this loose powder stuff. And I feel like now I have kind of like a softness, but sort of a silkiness to the skin. I'm gonna keep using this, but so far, I guess I feel like, yeah, it's doing the job of a good setting powder, but I don't know that it's like essential to buy this one, because I've also had fantastic results with like Maybelline Fit Me powder, you know, and I can bake with that. I can just lightly apply it if I want to. So far I'm not seeing this as absolutely essential. I also got this little pressed powder. It's the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder from Charlotte Tilbury. Little petite compact here, like it's nice and thin, and I just love her packaging. I got this in Fair. I can't remember exactly what the shade range was that caused me to get this particular shade, because I feel like this is the lightest one. but I'm just taking a little bit of this, kind of running it elsewhere across the face. I think I'm gonna use a little larger brush just to set everything. From what I can tell so far, like this is a fine powder. It looks nice on the skin, but I guess I'm wondering under what circumstance does this become an absolute must-have, because I've got several really good powders. I've got my L'Oreal True Match, I've got my LA Colors Mineral Powder, Milani Prep Set and Glow. I mean, I've just got tons of things that are working for me, and I'm not blown away by this, although it's nice enough. For the bronzer that I'm going to use today, I did not get this on Beautylish. I got this just sent to me in PR, and this is from The Balm, and they've got their new Take Home the Bronze with that little Oscar statue on there. I mean, isn't that sweet? And this is the one called Oscar. And so this is the lightest one. This is actually very exciting that The Balm has come out with a line of bronzers, because previously they had Bahama Mama, which was nice, like is a great bronzer, but it's pretty deep, and so they didn't have much range where bronzer was concerned. So this is a line of matte bronzers. They've got a couple other shades, and I believe this one is the lightest. And I've been surprised at how much I've loved this. Like, I want to show you the impact this has, like just for a little soft contour right here. Like just for a little casual everyday look. I love the way The Balm does powders, powder products of any kind really. And so their eyeshadows are great, their blushes are great, and these bronzers are really nice too. If you're much deeper than my skin tone, I don't think this lightest shade would necessarily be for you. If you want to hear more about these in a video and just see me show everything, if you're interested in that, let me know. This shade is just really cool toned, really easy to use, just a definite contour friendly shade for sure. I also didn't get a blush from Beautylish, but I got this. I don't know, did they sell? I think they do sell ABH on Beautylish's website, but I got this blush kit. I don't think this is a brand new thing, but this is in the shade called Radiant, and I just felt like trying some new blushes. These look so pretty. This pink is so fresh. I've been wearing that. You know, I'm all for kind of a murky blush that's a little bit dusty and a little bronzy maybe, rosy, this kind of orangey one here too. I'm gonna take a little bit of the fresh pink. This does have a little shimmer right there on the apple. I'm just kind of covering this whole zone. I'm trying to take it just a little higher than I have been, because this is just one of those shades where you want it right in here, you know? You don't really want it coming in off the side. This was me last night when I just came into the arena from the outside, and I was like, oh, you know, kind of cold. Got this nice flush on your cheeks. You know what's interesting? While I've really been enjoying this Anastasia palette, like it's causing me to think to my Shani blush palette, and I see overlap here. You know, I see similar things happening, and I love this, and it's definitely less expensive than this one. But we're gonna forge ahead here. I'm gonna use this shade, the Dusty Rose, and this one I am applying a little lower and a little further back on the cheek. So you guys, Eve is doing the cutest things ever these days. Like, she loves animal sounds. Like, animal sounds were definitely some of the first things outside of like the mama, dada, baby. Those basic little words Belle was always all about. Animal noises. And Eve is getting into the same thing. So like, I put out little, you know, animal figures and she'll say what they say. And I'd say she's operating on about 80% accuracy right now, but it's so cute. And she's so like loud and enthusiastic with it. It's precious. I'm going to use my Milani Radiant loose powder here. It's the Make It Last powder, but the shade is Radiant. And I'm going to use a little bit of this as my highlight. If this sounds at all familiar, I did review it in my video where I talked about quite a few new Milani things. This is that powder that gives that beautiful, like almost kind of dewy wet look to the skin. It's just loose powder, you know, looks great. And they don't give you a lot in their little loose powders, but this one I thought was worthwhile because I wasn't going to be like baking with this shade. It was going to act more as a highlight, as you can see. Like, I think it makes a very good pinpointed highlight powder, not something I would put all over my skin, but just, you know, tops of the cheekbones and whatnot. You know what, maybe I should point out that last night when I had that great staying power with my makeup, I was wearing my CoverGirl setting spray, the Look Lockup. So was it the serum foundation? Was it the setting spray? I tend to attribute more staying power stuff with the foundation because that's something that's going to interact with your skin type and either be like too greasy or too dry or whatever. And I don't think a setting spray is always going to save that. I think it can enhance and sometimes improve here and there, but if your foundation's going to like goop off your skin and wear in a really awful way, I don't think a setting spray is going to save it. But this continues to be under review. I'm going to keep playing here. And then I'm gonna do my brows. I'm gonna just use my Anastasia Brow Wiz. I told you guys, I found this in my collection. I thought I'd used it up, but it definitely has product in it. Medium brown, so I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we will do the eyes. Brows are done. I started thinking while I was doing them, should I have just done that on camera? Then I'm like, no, it's kind of boring, and it's a product that you've already seen me use a lot of times before. These videos of mine turn out to be super long anyway, but thank you guys who always seem to support the long videos. I appreciate that. Another new Viseart thing that I have here is the eyeshadow primer. So it looks like this little black tube. Shaking it definitely helps. You really want to shake it, especially the first time you use it, because there, like, it kind of hung together a little bit. But it's a really transparent looking primer and very different from the texture that I'm used to from, say, a Milani eyeshadow primer, Urban Decay Primer Potion, Too Faced Shadow Insurance. Not going to really like mask the look of discoloration or anything on your eyes. I would say my eyeshadow has hung on there pretty nicely when I wear this, but it's just a really different texture than what I'm accustomed to. It's another one of those things. Yeah, it works fine. Am I convinced that I need to be using it every day and like have it in my life forever? Not really. And then this beauty, the Viseart Tryst palette. This is their latest thing. I've used this now a couple times. One time I did a very natural look with it. I don't think I got a photo of that, but then I did a kind of pretty sultry nighttime look, and I really enjoyed that. We have three that are matte. There's a matte peach, a matte like soft coral, and then this shade here, if you look really closely, you can see some little flecks of shimmer, but it performs like a matte, and it's just this dark kind of wine brown mix type color. When I was first using it, I was thinking it might have been nice to have more than just that one option as a really deep color in this palette, but I'm not quite sure. This isn't like a full review just yet, y'all, because I'm still trying to figure this one out. Here's what it reminds me of: an expanded version of Bare Minerals, the Happy Place quad. You know what I'm talking about? That one had the peach, it had the plum. So this has like a purpley shade, a dark plum, this shade here, also this color in the middle. As you see it here on camera, you might just think, oh, that's just a light color. It's very peachy as well, actually. Like when it's hitting the light, it looks quite gold. When it's not, you can see a lot of peach in that color. You got like a bronzy gold down here. So it's without a doubt a pretty palette. Like, they've got me on the color scheme. What I'm still trying to figure out with this one, and what the look that we do today may help me with, is, you know, the uniqueness of it. How essential are these colors? I got this mug for Tyler for Valentine's Day. I'm drinking out of it. It's a nice man's mug. There's got a good weight to it, you know, it'll hold a good amount of coffee. I also got him a nice set of ties, neckties, and like came with a couple of little tie bars. They actually looked really good. It was a beautiful presentation. You open the box and you got these like 5 or 6 little rolled up ties. I don't know, I was proud of myself for that one, because Tyler, like, for Christmas, for his birthday too, he gives me no indication of like what he wants. Like, no, I don't really need anything, you know, it's okay. What you care about right now is this palette. That could maybe be a blush too, you know? But I'm gonna put it in my crease. This matte coral. This makes me feel so springtimey, putting this shade here. So I'm using my Sigma E25 because that's just where my comfort zone is. I've got some great Wayne Goss brushes, and I need to work those in a little bit more here and there, because I really like the brushes, but I just feel like, you know, you get your brush comfort zone going where it's like, I know what this brush is gonna do. Blending it ever so slightly upward toward the brow now. And then I'll take some of this shade here, which is a very light peach, and I'll just use that kind of on the border and under the brow like a highlight. Now what? Now what are we gonna do with this look? I'm gonna take some of this shade that I said was kind of peachy gold, and this actually looks really pretty on the edge of a look too. So I'm kind of bringing that out just above that coral, and it's giving this pretty like kind of golden edge to things. At least I can see it in person. That's a subtle effect. That's a very, very soft effect, but it's pretty. Then I do it for my purple lovers out there. We gotta see what this is about. I have, you know, played with this yesterday, and yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty shimmery mid-tone purple, and it's going all over my lid. Did you see that Viseart's also gonna be coming out with a new petite Pro palette, and that color scheme looks really gorgeous too. I wish I had it to compare with this because I feel like it's got more purpley stuff going on, so I wish I could try them both and let you know which is better, that or this. Okay, so that's been patted all over the lid. I've wedged it, you know, just kind of gently nudged it into my crease too. I'm gonna clean off my brush here for a second, and then I'm gonna take this lightest color here, and we're gonna dab some of this around the inner corner for brightness. Don't you love this lid? Like what they did here, it's kind of like a hint of rose in that, you know, it's so pretty. Now I'm taking this darkest shade here and I'm gonna work this into my outer V. I must say I love the way these colors are kind of playing with one another and looking side by side. The peaches, the plums, you know what else? Actually, drop everything. Oh yeah, okay. Makeup Revolution neutrals versus neutrals. This has a lot of things that are happening here. It's got some of those shimmery, like mid-tone shades. It's got a peach. It's got a dark plum, but it doesn't have a dark, like matte plum. But there's a lot of similar things happening there. Okay, it also doesn't have maybe as true of a purple. It's got like kind of a lilac-y shade and then a deep sort of sparkly plum. Maybe those two could come together to be a little more purpley for you. But just a thought. Just throwing that out there. Where you first put your brush with the shadow is where the most shadow is gonna go. So I'm starting it right here in my outer corner and I'm just kind of blending it up. It's all kind of going in the direction of the outer tip of my eyebrow. That's what's keeping me in line here. That's so pretty, but I think what makes it different from a lot of palettes is the little purple splash, and I wanna make that even more pronounced. So I think I'm just gonna go in with a little bit on my finger and just really lay that purple down. Because sometimes when you blend, you overlap, you start to lose things a little. I don't think any brand of shadow is immune from that happening. And then I want even more of this, even more of that coral. Oh, it's just yummy. Like, this is so fun, guys. I am having a blast this morning with you. I feel I need some brightness in my lower inner rim, so Hard Candy, Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlight. I only use this thing like every other day or nearly every day. I would say 9 times out of 10 with this color scheme, this warmth, rosiness, purpliness on my eyes, 9 times out of 10 I like the look of a light lower inner rim with this. It just keeps your eyes looking more alive. I think I need a really good plum liquid liner. That would be nice, but since I don't have it, I'm gonna be using a black today. I'm gonna go across my lash line with the black liquid liner. I'm gonna use some Cocoa lashes. These are 201s. These are kind of rediscovered. I had used these quite a bit, like, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago. They're a really nice lash. Not super loud and huge, but kind of a nice everyday type lash. I will pop those on and I will join you for lips. Okay, so here's the eyes with the liner on and the 201 lashes. As far as kind of finishing off the eyeshadow, all I did was take some of this shade with an angled brush and I just ran it right under my liner and a little bit down onto my lower lash line, but that's it. Now for lips, I got 2 Charlotte Tilbury glosses. This one's called Hall of Fame and this one is called High Society. Hall of Fame, I knew it was going to be a sheer style gloss, but from the picture on the website, and they're pretty good about showing pictures of how either swatches or application looks with different things, and I swore this looked like it had more color on, but it looks basically on me like a clear gloss. Not that I can't use that, but I was hoping for more color, so I'm gonna use High Society today. It's a very traditional, like, little doe foot applicator here. This color is quite pretty though, and I do like the texture. I like, you know, the cling to the lips. This is one of those very, like, your lips but better shades for me, and it kind of plays off of this type of color we've got kind of working up out of our crease with the eye look. But I feel like I have to dip back into that tube constantly because this little applicator doesn't carry hardly any product. I feel so springy with this look today, guys. Finished look, I'm super happy with it. I would say some of my favorite things that I got. I was really impressed with the stuff that I tried from The Ordinary. The primer's nice, but especially the foundations. And I meant to tell you guys, I did get the 100% organic cold pressed Moroccan argan oil because I'm a big fan of the Josie Marin kind, but this is a lot more affordable, so I thought I could compare that. Haven't used it yet though, but just a heads up. I really like the Inglot concealer. color. The Tryst palette from Viseart, I really love the looks that I've been getting from this. It's a beautiful color selection, beautiful quality. I'm still kind of trying to determine if I think this is a total must-have, or maybe I should also, sorry, there's hair like sticking to my gloss, move away hair. But I feel like I should go through more of what I already have in my collection and see what other similar things I have. I guess I really didn't get anything from this haul that was a total fail here. The loose powder, the eyeshadow primer, the Charlotte Tilbury powder here, also the glosses, they're kind of like, you know, they worked okay. I'm gonna definitely keep playing with these just to see if I have some sort of revelation with them, but they're not seeming like immediate must-haves in my book. Got a little leftover wave happening there in my hair, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had fun. I definitely did. Gonna go finish the rest of this coffee, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.